Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the stream. We would be talking about something really interesting today because one of the most sought after questions that I get asked when I speak to clients or when I speak to potential customers is what's all this jazz about AI? And they just want to be bothered about how this is going to affect their lead gen. The answer being it will affect your lead gen in every way possible because AI is not directly affecting the way your business operates or nothing has changed in the way you get things done. But things have changed in terms of what happens when people visit your website. When your potential customers visit your website, how are things organized? How are things handled in terms of lead generation, the experiences that you provide to them, they have changed. People visited your website from channels like paid ads or SEO or YouTube or direct traffic or organic traffic. So the way things the way you did things earlier were either you had a landing page with a lead form and people put in the leads and then it go to your CRM at the most, right? And at the most, you could have triggered an auto response saying that, okay, we have registered your lead. Thank you so much. And you also went ahead and set up some workflows in terms of email workflows about how do you nurture these by sending them articles, by sending them videos, by sending them offers. That's how that's where it ended, right? But today, if you look at it with the advent of AI, things have gone beyond imagination, which means that there are automation workflows at each stage that were always there. But you could set up your custom automations, which is a discussion for another day. But this is a 101 session of what happens with AI. This is AI powered lead gen 101. So let's look at a brief overview of what really happens in the back end when you speak about lead generation. And this actually begins at a stage where we are looking at post-visit stage, which means anybody who has come to your website, what happens after that? So I've broken this session into very simple 101 session where any business owner, any CEO, any founder, anybody running a business online or selling something online can kind of understand what happens in the back end. And the further streams will speak about each of these sections in detail so that we understand what needs to be done to maximize your outcome out of each stage. Because maximizing output at each of these stages will eventually mean maximizing your leads and thereby conversions. So what you look at in a nutshell is this is the typical situation that happens. And if people visit your website, now we have not spoken about the channels that they could take to come to your website. That could be anything from paid ads, SEO, inbound, outbound, emailers, anything, right? So once they visit the website, what is happening? Earlier, they were all treated the same. Anybody who visits your website, puts in a lead form, will get the same email, will get the same nurturing sequences. At the most, you will have some classifications done on their demographics, but things can go take a different route because why are we spending time and money for somebody who is not even a genuine lead or somebody who is a gate crasher, somebody who never intended to be here, but he just wanted to check this out. So how do you identify leads? How do you stop looking at all of these leads that come in with the same lens, through the same lens, and how do you assign different priorities and how do you take care of them? How do you take care of them because of certain behaviors or intent that they have exhibited on your website or otherwise? Then you have automated email campaign triggers that go out, which we know about it. This is where now the next thing is where it gets really interesting, where you send personalized recommendations. You don't send the same nurturing sequence to everybody, but you kind of try. A different route where you send recommendations based upon their behaviors, based upon the pages they visit, based upon whether they're at the product page, whether they have at the checkout page, whether they have added a product to the cart. How does this work, right? Or whether they have finished a purchase. Then you visit landing pages. Then you have AI-powered chatbot assistance once they're on the landing page. This is not a linear sequence, but when they visit your landing page, you will have AI-powered chatbots that assist, which are most of the times, I hate to say this, but they're most of the times very advanced than an average human being, right? Then, in case you're promoting a travel website, they book a trip with you. AI-powered booking engines suggest additional services, you cross-sell, upsell. So this is what happens in a nutshell. But if you break this down, I have demonstrated the same thing in two ways for us to easily understand. But if you break this down, what happens in the back end, this is what happens in the back end. So when people visit your website, there are certain tracking and analytics set up. What tools we use to get these done is a discussion for another day, not another day, but the same day, but today, but in another time, but just in a few minutes. Now, then you have website tracking and analytics setup. You also look at social listening, where you understand the conversations that are happening around a category, around a product or a service, around a brand. Then you kind of input that data. So what technically happens here is data collection. Now, the data that is being collected by these AI systems is happening through website tracking, which is on your website. Then you have industry insights as social media listening, what is being discussed in the social media and other channels. Then you have information from your customer surveys and feedback forms. Then you have third-party data providers in case you have purchased third-party data from another source. Now, all these data points get into the AI systems that gather the data. Now, what is this AI system? Is it a tool? Is it a platform? Is it custom built? Is it in-house? Is it a third-party tool? Is it a paid tool, free tool? We will speak about that in a few minutes. Now, all the data from these sources come into these platforms. Then AI analyzes the data, which is what happens after it is being collected. Now, what does it analyze it upon? It analyzes it upon the behaviors, it analyzes it upon the interests, demographics, and whatnot, right? Now, once the data collection phase is done, then comes the lead identification or the lead scoring scenario, where this is where you start prioritizing your leads based upon how good or bad they are. I'm sure they're all good people, but somebody visiting your website and interacting with you after the data analysis stage, which of these leads should be given higher priority? Which of these kind of can convert with you at a later point in time, and what are the sequences that you send them? That is what gets decided here. How does it get decided? It is done using lead scoring software. And again, lead scoring has manual scoring and automated scoring. Discussion for another day. Then you have predictive analytics, where based upon the stats today, based upon the data today, how will these turn out in the future? Then you have machine learning algorithms which learn from all these data patterns. Then you finally, let's say you identify the high potential leads. Now, high potential leads will then go into personalized outreach stage, where each of these leads, which are identified as high qualified or highly qualified, will start receiving nurturing sequences. Now, it can be personalized using email marketing platforms. It can also be personalized using dynamic website platforms. For example, a person who is visiting from India will see the pricing page will in the Indian currency, and which is very reflective of what matters to the Indian demographics. A person who's coming from the US, for example, will see a page which is very customized to the US language, US currency, US location, US custom, US culture, etc. Then you have chatbots which kind of facilitate this. Then you also have social media ads which kind of help you to deliver this targeted messages. Once you have these delivered targeting messages reaching people, that is when you need to figure out how do you keep nurturing them. Sending an auto response, sending a first email based upon certain demographics or interests is often mistook as nurturing. It is not nurturing. Nurturing happens at another level. I would say after you have personalized your emails that go out to people or your potential customers, there's another layer that get added onto the top, which is your nurturing sequence. Not any nurturing sequence, but a personalized nurturing sequence. How does that differ? You will start leveraging automation platforms. For example, somebody has added your product to the cart. Now, do you want to offer them a 20% discount? Right? If he's a repeat customer, you know that he's exhibiting this behavior. He has added this to the cart, but has not made a purchase yet. You know he's a repeat customer, so he's not going to run away if you don't give him a 20% discount. Maybe you give him a 10% discount on the next order, right? Now, that's a very careful decision that you need to take, because you have observed the behavior, you have observed the past transactions, you have observed his lifetime with you, you have observed his purchase behavior. Then you kind of identify this, and then you set up your marketing automations in such a way that this particular person will receive a 10% discount on the next order. However, if he's a first-time user, you would want to give him a 20% discount. So the behavior is the same of somebody adding your product to the cart, but the kind of action sequence you're recommending to them is different based upon their behaviors. This was not done in the past, and there was no way we could do this in the past unless you do it manually. Then you have content recommendation engines. person who has come for the first time, person who has come for the 100th time, you will recommend different pieces of content to them because they resonate with different pieces of content, their behaviors are different. Then you have dynamic email content that changes dynamically based upon certain behaviors. This is an emailer that exhibits different behaviors. Now, once you have kept the leads engaged, then the conversions will trickle in. Now, this could be booking engines, these could be virtual travel assistants, these could be dynamic pricing. Once these activities will enable you to go ahead and convert your leads into customers. Now, on the outset, this seems like a very seamless process, but there is a little more detail that we need to be understanding. This is a generic overview, if you ask me. Now, taking one step deep and delving a few steps deep, you will know what happens at each of these stages. Data collection and analysis stage. I hope you're able to see it. Now, website traffic, social media interactions, data from email marketing campaigns, third-party databases that you have purchased will go into the AI algorithms that gather the data. It then analyzes the data, then and then it classifies them based on either demographic information, interests and behaviors, or pain points and needs that they have exhibited or expressed. Then the lead identification or scoring happens that determines how likely the leads are going to convert for you. What is the estimated lifetime value of the customer? Then you will go ahead and create your personalization, which is tailored messages by sending personalized emails or by showcasing them content which is dynamic website content which changes based upon their behaviors, or the same website but people can see two different pages based upon their behaviors, but the same landing page with two different pieces of content based upon their behaviors. Then you have targeted social media ads. Now, these tailored messages could be emails, could be social media posts, could be chatbot messages or SMSs, right? Then, as I said, we would need to add another layer. Now, what the additional layer will do is it will nurture these leads better, and it will start and pamper them better, right? Pamper them better, for the lack of a better word. That could be drip emails. Then you have relevant content recommendations. How about person who has been buying shoes on your website for the last 10 years, and you could kind of sell him a subscription box which has a lot of shoe care products in it, right? And you could educate them on ways to take care of their shoes because you know that they have bought a lot of shoes from you in the past. Then you have personalized offers and promotions. But the same shoe care box would not be good enough for somebody who has just made one-time purchase on your website for a pair of flip-flops, right? Then you monitor the lead engagement. You will also measure the engagement. What are the engagement levels? And you could also, what I mean by engagement is open rate and click rate, website visits from the email that you have sent, social media interactions on your posts that they have made. Now, once you have information about these, then comes the conversion stage where you identify who are the sales ready leads. Now, based upon certain behaviors, if you have sent these emails to 10,000 people, not all 10,000 people, even after nurturing, even after personalization, even after giving them custom offers and custom landing pages, will not be ready to purchase. It's as obvious. That's business as usual. Now, out of these 10,000 leads, assuming 20% of them are ready to convert with you, what are you going to do? What are you going to do is you assign lead score to people who are those 2,000 people who are ready to convert. You will assign lower scores or other signals to people who are not yet ready to convert with you. Then the plan of action differs for both of these leads. Now, this high score, these leads with higher scores get routed to the sales team, which immediately starts making phone calls, demos, consultations to monitor the conversion rates, right? Then if somebody has enabled a strong engagement signal, you will also do that you'll also send them to the sales team to do these things, right? Now, if somebody has not exhibited, or what about the 8,000 remaining people out of the 10,000 interested people who did not demonstrate signals, you take one step back and then you start nurturing them further. You start sending another piece of content. You start sending reminders to those. And then you start offering services like a hands-on service. You tell them, how about I give you a one-time free offer, right? Or a freemium. You try it out for 15 days and see if you like it or not. So that kind of mechanism, right? So this is your lead gen process and what happens at each of these stages with respect to AI, automations, personalization, nurturing. Now, it's all good on paper, right? Now, you already may have 1,000 questions brimming in your head about Okay, fine, it sounds good as a concept, but how do I get these? Are there any tools? Do I buy these tools? Are they free tools? How do I go about the whole thing, right? Now, I have put together a sequence diagram which will at the first sight will make you want to close this video and move on. But trust me, I've made this very, very simple. All you need to do is put all those things we have learned together so far in this video and start layering them with what kind of tools, what are certain tools you could go ahead to give you a proper understanding or to seal the knowledge that you have had from this video better by linking these activities to the tools that are used, which is exactly what you need, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom this a little so that we take one step at a time. Now we're speaking about a person who has visited your website, a potential customer. He browsed your website, right? Once he visits the website, behavior is tracked, right? Do you see this? Once the behavior is tracked, that and how is that tracked? You can start using tools like Google Analytics. You can start using tools like Hotjar, right? You can start using tools like Hotjar. Now, the tracked data will go to the AI tools for further analysis. Then the next stage is you're also looking at monitoring social media, if you remember. You will start using tools like Brandwatch and Talkwalker to monitor conversations around a topic or a category or a product or a brand on social media. Now, once that is done, it will start monitoring social media for these data points. That data will also be sent to the AI tools. That is what Provide Insights here is talking about. Then the next stage is now, once that data is collected from these sources and it is sent to the AI tools, now that is where AI tools start coming to play. Now, you can also start looking at data collected from your surveys and feedback forms that you have submitted here. Let me move myself, okay? And then it will also start collecting data from the third-party services or the third-party data that you have purchased. So data from your website behaviors using tools like Analytics and Hotjar, data from social media channels that you have analyzed using tools like Brandwatch and Talkwalker, third-party data that you have purchased, and your website surveys and form data that you have collected from people. All of these things will go to the AI tools here for further analysis, right? So let me move what we are done with away so that we can make room for new knowledge. All right, so I think I need to move myself from here. So give me a second. Where do I move myself? Okay, for the time being here. All right, so once all the data collected from all these platforms are in the AI tools for further analysis, with the AI tools for further analysis. Now the data that is on these AI tools, when I say analyzing this data, it is done through tools like LeadSpace and Infer, which we will be talking about all these tools in detail as we go by. Do not worry about that. Now, once these data points are spoken about or being analyzed using these tools, scores are being assigned. Now, what scores are these? These are lead scores based upon certain points that is in turn based upon the activities that they have exhibited. For example, somebody visited a product page and left. You give him 3 points. Somebody went to the product page, scrolled down to read all the specifications of the product and spent, let's say, more than 3 minutes on that page. You assign him 5 points. He went ahead and added that to the cart. You give him 7 points. He actually made a purchase, you give him 8 points. He bought more products from you, you assign him 10 points. You see how scores are different based upon different activities or behaviors he or she exhibited on the website. How do you assign these? Who assigns these? We assign that. On what tools do we assign these? On tools like Infer and LeadSpace. You can also do that using you can also do that using HubSpot, right? Now, once these scores are taken into account, AI systems will employ certain predictive analytics tools if you have already bought them. And if you already have those tools, it will start predicting things for you based upon these behaviors. A customer called A has gone ahead and has been purchasing with you for the last, let's say, 10 months. Now, based upon that data, these predictive tools will go ahead and start forming predictions about what you can expect, right? And these predictions are not just random predictions like a soothsayer, but these are predictions based upon what you have done or what these customers have done in the past with you, and based upon data and based upon what the systems have learned from the data. Who gave them this data, by the way? And at the end of it all, you need to remember who gave them this data? You gave them this data. So you better be careful about what data you feed into the system, because bad data in, bad predictions out, right? So basically, you need to be, once you have identified on applying these scores and applying these predictive analytics algorithms, once you have analyzed the patterns, it's time to gather those insights. Now, what are all the activities that we spoke about? Lead scoring software, predictive analytics tools, machine learning algorithms, based upon the data that they have collected, time to move to the personalized outreach stage. What do I mean by personalized outreach? Okay, now time for us to go ahead and zoom out a little. Now we have reached the stage where we are ready to craft personalized messages. These crafted personalized messages, you need to remember, are based upon data that you have collected, data AI tools have analyzed, data that the predictive analytics tools have taken into account, and now they're recommending these things. So your personalized reach will use things like showing dynamic content by using tools like Optimizely or Visual Website Optimizer. Then it will also engage your customers with tools, with chatbots, leveraging tools like Intercom and Drift. Targeted social media ads by using tools like LinkedIn ads and Facebook ads. Right? Now, once these data emails have been sent, now it's time to go ahead and engage with visitors, right? Now, engaging with visitors can be done, and emails can be sent using tools like MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Optimizely, VWO, Intercom, Drift, Facebook ads, and LinkedIn ads. Now it's time for nurturing those leads. Now, nurturing leads can be done through sending personalized content, recommended content, and sending dynamic emails. All of these platforms that we spoke about can be done to use that. Your campaigns can be automated by using MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, tools like Marketo, HubSpot. All these operations can be done with each of these tools, right? Now, once that is done, people will go ahead and start exhibiting patterns in terms of booking a trip, or they respond to these emails, right? Which is time for us to go ahead and convert. This is time for us to go ahead and convert by giving them to the sales team, because these are sales ready leads. Once the sales ready leads are given, then you personalize your booking further. Then you offer, you can either give this to virtual travel assistants, you optimize pricing, blah, 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 and then you do whatever makes sense for the business. And finally, the end goal is somebody going ahead and booking a trip with you. Once that is done, you go ahead and start cross-selling them on other activities or the local tours, hiring a guide, or doing or booking hotel accommodations, anything like that, right? Do you see how AI has changed your entire landscape of lead generation? And all the tools, I know it's too small to read, but think about all these set of activities that are happening in the back end and we don't even know about it, right? And here, and it is sad to see a lot of businesses expressing their dissatisfaction about how AI has changed and how their old methods are not working. Obviously, they're not bound to work because it's a different world altogether. How do you become a player who is a player 2.0 version of you in the new playing field? Is by leveling up with AI, and this is how you get started. And I'm happy to have brought you the AI-powered lead gen 101 that you could leverage if you're a businessman, if you're a business owner, founder, CEO, or anybody selling anything online. That's it from me today. Thank you so much for being patient. See you again. Until next time, ciao.